The race begins. In the bustling expanse of the galactic rim, where stars and planets danced like jewels on a velvet canvas, the interstellar race of the century was about to commence. The Galactic Race Circuit had become an annual event that attracted the greatest minds and most daring pilots from across the cosmos. This year's race promised to be the most thrilling yet, with a grand prize that could change the fortunes of any pilot and their crew. The announcement of the race had sent waves through the galaxy, but none more so than through the crew of the Stellar Tempest. Captained by the enigmatic and fearless human pilot, Jax Daniels, the Stellar Tempest was not your average spacecraft. Its sleek, almost predatory design, and its reputation for speed and maneuverability had earned it a place in the elite category of racing ships. Jax, a veteran of numerous space races and skirmishes, was known for his daring maneuvers and unshakable confidence. His crew was a diverse group of specialists: Layla, the brilliant navigator; Arin, the tech wizard; and Zara, the sharp-eyed strategist. Together, they had turned the Stellar Tempest into a formidable contender. As the race drew near, the competitors were an eclectic mix of species and ships, each with their own unique strengths and quirks. The race course was a treacherous loop around the outer edges of the galaxy, fraught with natural hazards, hostile environments, and the ever-present threat of sabotage. The stakes were high, and every racer was out for glory, fame, and the enormous prize. In the final briefing before the race, Jax stood in front of his crew, the cockpit of the Stellar Tempest buzzing with activity. "All right, team, this is it," he said, his voice a blend of excitement and seriousness. "We've trained for this. We know the course, and we know what we're up against. Remember, we're not just racing. We're making a statement. Let's show the galaxy what a human and their crew can do." Layla, her eyes glued to the star maps, nodded. "The navigation charts are updated. We're clear on all the hazards, but be prepared for anything. This course is infamous for its unpredictability." Arin, hunched over the control panels, looked up with a grin. "I've optimized the ship's systems for maximum performance. If anything goes wrong, I'll fix it on the fly. Just keep us in the race." Zara, always the strategist, laid out their tactics. "We've got to stay ahead of the pack from the start. The first leg is crucial. We'll need to anticipate every move of our competitors and be ready for any tricks they might pull." As the countdown began, the Stellar Tempest rode to life. The spaceport filled with the thunderous noise of engines firing up and the sight of ships taking their positions. Jax took his seat in the pilot's chair, the familiar hum of the ship's systems filling him with a sense of purpose. The race began with a burst of light as the ships shot off the starting line, streaking into the void of space. The Stellar Tempest surged forward, its advanced propulsion system propelling it ahead of many of the other ships. Jax's hands danced over the controls, guiding the ship with a precision that was both practiced and intuitive. The initial stretch of the race was relatively straightforward, but it was soon apparent that this would not be a leisurely cruise. The course twisted through asteroid fields, narrow canyons of space debris, and areas of high gravitational pull. Each section of the race required a different set of skills, and Jax's ability to adapt was tested from the very beginning. The first major challenge came in the form of a dense asteroid field. The Stellar Tempest darted and wove through the debris with incredible agility, Jax expertly navigating the minefield. However, not all ships were so fortunate. Some competitors collided with asteroids, their ships disintegrating in bursts of light and debris. Layla called out from her station, "We're approaching the first checkpoint. The field is getting thicker. Watch out for the traps." Jax nodded, his focus unwavering. The Stellar Tempest approached the checkpoint, a massive space station that served as both a waypoint and a hazard. The station's orbit was unstable, and its proximity to a nearby star created dangerous radiation spikes. As the ship neared the checkpoint, Jax saw the competition closing in. The other racers, some more reckless than skilled, attempted to navigate the checkpoint's perilous environment. One ship, in particular, seemed to be causing trouble, a sleek, menacing craft that had a reputation for underhanded tactics. The Stellar Tempest barely avoided a collision with the rival ship as it tried to force its way through the checkpoint. Jax gritted his teeth, knowing that every move counted. He pushed the Stellar Tempest to its limits, narrowly avoiding radiation bursts and gravitational anomalies. With the checkpoint passed, the race continued into a section known as the Maelstrom, a swirling vortex of space-time anomalies and gravitational eddies. The Stellar Tempest was designed to handle such challenges, but even with its advanced technology, navigating the Maelstrom was a test of skill and endurance. Jax's crew remained focused, their voices calm but determined as they provided support and information. The ship's systems whirred and beeped, responding to the unpredictable conditions. Jax's hands moved with a fluidity born of years of experience, guiding the ship through the swirling chaos. The first leg of the race was almost over, and the Stellar Tempest was in a strong position. But the real test was yet to come. The race would take them deeper into uncharted territories, and the challenges would only become more formidable. As the ship emerged from the Maelstrom, the crew braced themselves for what lay ahead. The galaxy was watching, and the Stellar Tempest was determined to prove that a human ship could take on the best the universe had to offer. With the race still in its early stages, every decision, every maneuver, and every ounce of skill would be put to the test. Shadows and sabotage. The race continued as the Stellar Tempest soared through the void, its crew pushing the limits of both the ship and themselves. The second leg of the race was proving to be more challenging than anticipated, with unexpected obstacles and rival racers determined to win at any cost. Jax's focus was unwavering, but he couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. The competition was fierce, and while he had anticipated some level of maneuvering and strategic play, the aggression from certain competitors was beyond anything he had expected. Layla's voice came through the comms, sharp with urgency. "We've got a problem, Jax. Our sensors are picking up an anomaly ahead. It looks like someone's laid down a field of gravitic mines." Jax's eyes narrowed as he scanned the readouts. The mines were hidden among the debris fields, making them almost impossible to see until it was too late. The Stellar Tempest's advanced sensors had already detected the subtle gravitational shifts, but navigating through them would be a delicate operation. Aaron was already at work, his fingers flying over the console. "I'm working on a countermeasure to detect and neutralize the mines. We've got to stay sharp." Jax nodded, adjusting the ship's trajectory to avoid the most dangerous areas. The gravitic mines began to make their presence felt, creating unpredictable shifts in the ship's path. The Stellar Tempest lurched and twisted as Jax fought to keep it on course. Zara, ever the strategist, kept her eyes on the competition. "Watch out for that ship on our tail. It's the same one that caused trouble at the checkpoint." The rival ship, sleek and menacing, had been shadowing them since the checkpoint. Its pilot, a renowned but unscrupulous racer, was known for employing dirty tactics to gain an advantage. It was clear that they had a vested interest in seeing the Stellar Tempest out of the race. Jax maneuvered the Stellar Tempest through the minefield with a combination of skill and luck. Aaron's countermeasures had successfully detected and neutralized several mines, but the field was dense, and the risk of sudden, unexpected explosions remained high. The rival ship took advantage of the chaos, attempting to force its way through the debris and mines. Jax could see the pilot's intentions, to push them into the mines or otherwise sabotage their progress. The rivalry was turning into a high-stakes game of cat and mouse. As they navigated through the treacherous terrain, the Stellar Tempest was jolted by a sudden explosion. A gravitic mine had detonated close by, sending a shockwave through the ship. The systems flickered, and alarms blared. Aaron's voice came through the comms, calm but urgent. "We've taken minor damage. Systems are stabilizing. but we need to be cautious. Jax gritted his teeth, fighting to keep the ship steady. We're not out of this yet. Keep an eye on the rival ship and prepare for any further interference. The rival ship, sensing an opportunity, began to close in. Its pilot, a sly grin visible through the cockpit, seemed intent on making the stellar Tempest's problems worse. The ship's weapon systems, though not typically used in races, were now being readied for possible use. Zara's sharp eyes caught movement. They're arming their weapons. They're planning to shoot us out of the race. Jax's mind raced. He had anticipated sabotage, but this level of aggression was beyond the norm. The rival pilot was playing dirty, and it was up to the stellar Tempest's crew to outmaneuver and outsmart them. With the rival ship closing in, Jax executed a series of evasive maneuvers, using the debris fields and gravitational anomalies to create obstacles for the pursuer. The stellar Tempest danced through the space, narrowly avoiding both the mines and the rival ship's attacks. Aaron continued to work on the damaged systems, his focus intense. We've got a critical system malfunction. I'm rerouting power to maintain stability. Layla, her eyes scanning the navigational data, provided real-time updates. We're approaching a gravity well. It's going to pull us off course if we're not careful. Jax adjusted the ship's trajectory, guiding the stellar Tempest through the gravity well with precision. The rival ship, however, seemed relentless, its pilot determined to exploit any weakness. The tension in the cockpit was palpable as the stellar Tempest fought its way through the obstacles. Every second counted, and Jax's skill and the crew's coordination were the only things keeping them in the race. As they emerged from the gravity well, the rival ship pulled back, seemingly satisfied with the chaos it had caused. The stellar Tempest was battered, but still in the race. The crew exchanged determined glances, knowing that they had to press on. The race was far from over, and the challenges would only continue to escalate. The sabotage had been a stark reminder of the lengths to which some competitors would go. But Jax and his crew were undeterred. They had faced adversity before, and they were ready to confront whatever lay ahead. The hidden perils. The stellar Tempest emerged from the chaotic gravitic minefield and gravity well, but the respite was short-lived. The racecourse led them into the unknown expanse, a region of space known for its unpredictable and dangerous phenomena. This leg of the race was infamous for testing the endurance and skill of even the most seasoned pilots. Jax's crew was on high alert, their senses sharpened by the recent sabotage attempt. The unknown expanse was a swirling mix of cosmic anomalies, and the slightest miscalculation could spell disaster. The crew's combined expertise would be crucial in navigating this treacherous stretch. Layla, her fingers flying over the navigation controls, called out, "We're entering the expanse. The sensors are picking up high-energy fluctuations and gravitational distortions. Expect the unexpected." Aaron's voice came through the comms, focused and precise. "I'm running diagnostics on all systems. We need to be ready for anything." Zara, her eyes fixed on the readings, added, "Stay sharp. The rival ship might try to take advantage of these anomalies to further disrupt us." The unknown expanse lived up to its name as the stellar Tempest plunged into a swirling maelstrom of energy and gravity distortions. The ship rocked and pitched as it encountered sudden fluctuations in space-time. Jax's hands moved deftly over the controls, guiding the ship through the turbulent environment. The expanse was not only a physical challenge, but also a psychological one. The ever-shifting surroundings played tricks on the mind, creating illusions and disorienting effects. Jax had to rely on his instincts and training to keep the stellar Tempest on course. Layla's voice was steady despite the chaos. "We're approaching a high-energy anomaly. It's creating a spatial rift that could pull us off course." Jax maneuvered the ship to avoid the rift, but the sudden appearance of the anomaly forced him into a rapid adjustment. The stellar Tempest shot through the rift's edge, its systems straining under the pressure. Aaron worked quickly, stabilizing the ship's systems and rerouting power to critical systems. We've sustained minor damage to the hull, but nothing we can't handle. Keep pushing forward. The rival ship, sensing an opportunity, had also entered the expanse. Its pilot, adept at exploiting such conditions, began to make aggressive moves. The rival ship's strategy seemed to involve using the anomalies to create obstacles and hinder the stellar tempest. The expanse was filled with energy storms and gravitational anomalies that distorted both space and time. The stellar tempest weaved through these challenges with skill, but the rival ship's tactics were increasingly aggressive. It began to fire energy bursts at the stellar tempest, using the chaos to mask its attacks. Jax's crew responded swiftly. Layla tracked the rival ship's movements, providing critical information on their tactics. Aaron focused on maintaining the ship's integrity, repairing damage in real time. Zara formulated strategies to counter the rival ship's aggression. Despite their best efforts, the stellar tempest took several hits from the rival ship's energy bursts. The cockpit filled with the sounds of alarms, and the ship's hull creaked under the strain. Jax's face was set in a determined expression as he guided the ship through the swirling chaos. "We've got to get through this expanse and back on solid ground," Jax said through gritted teeth. "We can't let them push us out." Layla's voice was resolute. "I've plotted a course through the least hazardous route. It'll take us closer to the edge of the expanse, but it's our best shot." Jax adjusted the ship's trajectory, guiding the stellar tempest through the narrowest and least hazardous paths. The rival ship continued to harass them, but Jax's maneuvers were precise and calculated. The crew worked in unison, each member focused on their role. As they neared the edge of the expanse, the intensity of the energy storms and gravitational anomalies began to lessen. The stellar tempest emerged from the chaotic environment, battered but intact. The crew took a moment to catch their breath, their faces reflecting both relief and exhaustion. Zara's voice broke the silence. "We've made it through the worst of it. Now we need to focus on the final stretch of the race." The unknown expanse had tested their limits, but the stellar tempest had endured. The crew knew that the final legs of the race would be just as challenging, if not more so. They were not just racing against other pilots, but against the harsh realities of space itself. With renewed determination, Jax and his crew prepared for the next phase of the race. The galaxy was watching, and they were determined to show that a human crew could face any challenge and come out victorious. The final push. The final leg of the race was upon them, and the stellar tempest was pushing forward with everything it had. The unknown expanse had tested their mettle, but the race was far from over. Ahead lay the most grueling portion of the race, a series of high-stakes challenges that would test the ship's speed, endurance, and the crew's ingenuity. The racecourse now led them into the heart of a nebula, a dense cloud of gas and dust that obscured vision and created unpredictable gravitational fields. The nebula was known for its treacherous conditions, and navigating through it required not only skill, but also a deep understanding of the environment. Layla's voice came through the comms, filled with determination. "We're entering the nebula. The visibility is almost zero, and the gravitational fields are fluctuating. We need to rely on the ship's sensors and our instincts." Jax nodded, his hands steady on the controls. "We've come this far. We've faced every challenge thrown at us. We can handle this." The stellar tempest plunged into the nebula, its sensors straining to pierce through the dense cloud. The ship's visibility was reduced to mere meters, and the gravitational fields created erratic shifts in the ship's trajectory. Jax maneuvered the ship with precision, relying on the data from the sensors and the crew's guidance. The nebula was filled with drifting debris and pockets of unstable energy. The stellar tempest had to navigate through these hazards while maintaining speed. The rival ship was still in the race, and its pilot was not about to back down. Zara's voice was calm but focused. "The rival ship is closing in. They're using the nebula to their advantage, trying to box us in." Jax adjusted the ship's course, weaving through the debris and energy pockets. The rival ship was using aggressive tactics, attempting to force the Stellar Tempest into collisions and hazardous areas. It was clear that the pilot was determined to win at any cost. Aaron's voice came through the comms, urgent and precise. "We've got a problem with the navigation systems. The nebula is causing interference. I'm working on a fix." The ship jolted as it hit a particularly unstable energy pocket. The controls were momentarily unresponsive, and the ship's systems flickered. Jax fought to keep the ship steady, his focus unshaken despite the chaos. Layla's voice was filled with concern. "We're approaching a gravitational anomaly. It's creating a strong pull. We need to make a course adjustment." Jax adjusted the ship's trajectory, guiding the Stellar Tempest around the anomaly. The rival ship took advantage of the situation, closing in with its weapons ready. The final stretch of the race was turning into a desperate battle for survival. The nebula was a blur of colors and shadows as the Stellar Tempest fought its way through. The rival ship's attacks grew more intense, and the ship's hull sustained further damage. The crew worked in unison, each member focused on their role. Aaron's voice was a beacon of hope. "I've got the navigation systems back online. We're back on track." With the systems restored, Jax pushed the Stellar Tempest to its limits. The final stretch was a high-speed dash through the nebula, with the rival ship hot on their heels. The ship's engines roared as it surged forward, cutting through the dense cloud. The nebula began to thin, revealing the final segment of the racecourse, a narrow, twisting corridor of space with tight turns and sudden drops. The Stellar Tempest was in a prime position, but the rival ship was closing in. Jax's hands moved with practiced ease, guiding the ship through the tight turns and avoiding the obstacles. The rival ship tried to force its way through, but Jax's maneuvers kept the Stellar Tempest ahead. The final stretch was a breathtaking sprint to the finish line. The Stellar Tempest and the rival ship raced neck and neck, their speeds pushing the limits of their respective ships. The finish line was in sight, and every second counted. Jax's eyes were locked on the finish line as he pushed the Stellar Tempest to its maximum speed. The rival ship attempted a final, desperate maneuver, but Jax's skill and the ship's advanced systems held steady. With a burst of speed, the Stellar Tempest crossed the finish line, its engines roaring triumphantly. The crew erupted into cheers as the ship surged ahead, securing their victory in the race. A new legacy. The Stellar Tempest cruised through the victory lap, its crew basking in the glory of their hard-fought triumph. The galaxy had watched in awe as the human ship and its crew overcame every challenge and emerged victorious. The race was not just a test of speed, but a demonstration of skill, endurance, and determination. As the ship approached the victory podium, the cheers of the crowd resonated through the spaceport. The grand prize awaited them, a symbolic trophy and a substantial reward that would secure the crew's place in history. Jax and his crew stood on the podium, their faces beaming with pride. The announcer's voice echoed through the spaceport, celebrating their achievement. And the winner of the galactic race circuit is the Stellar Tempest. Congratulations to Captain Jax Daniels and his incredible crew. Jax raised the trophy high, his eyes meeting those of his crew. "We did it, team. This victory is for all of us. We faced every challenge and came out on top." Layla, her eyes sparkling with joy, nodded. "We showed the galaxy what we're made of. The Stellar Tempest is more than just a ship. It's a symbol of what humans can achieve." Aaron, still buzzing with adrenaline, grinned. "I couldn't have asked for a better team to race with. We made it through every obstacle and came out stronger." Zara, her strategic mind already thinking ahead, added, "This victory is just the beginning. There are more challenges and adventures out there, and we're ready for them." The crew celebrated their victory, knowing that they had not only won a race, but also made a lasting impression on the galaxy. The Stellar Tempest had proven itself to be one of the fastest and most resilient ships in the galaxy, and its crew had demonstrated the ingenuity and determination of humanity. As they looked out at the vast expanse of space, Jax knew that their victory was more than just a win in a race. It was a testament to the spirit of exploration and the drive to overcome any challenge. The galaxy had witnessed their triumph, and the legacy of the stellar tempest would inspire others to push the boundaries of what was possible. With their victory secured and their reputation solidified, the crew of the stellar tempest set their sights on new horizons. The galaxy was vast, and there were countless adventures waiting for them. They had proven that a human ship, with determination and skill, could take on the best the universe had to offer. As they sailed into the stars, the stellar tempest and its crew were ready for whatever the galaxy had in store. Their journey was far from over, and the legacy of their victory would echo through the cosmos for years to come.